the big news for that is they recently announced that we're really doing a lot of moving and shaking today, huh?
Yeah, dude.
The real big news there is that they've announced, yeah, boy, the Green Lantern
Boom.
television series for HBO Max.
That's right.
They've released some details about it, of course, including all of the guys that are going to be in this season of the show. They have not said that this is what the cast is going to be completely comprised of. But we've got Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Sinestro, and then two guys that nobody cares about. And I think the one guy is he's actually really cool, but I can't
You
remember.
talking about this guy with the?
No, that's Guy. Guy's my fave.
I figured.
He's kick ass. But the dude behind him is, I think he's one of the first like Muslim DC characters. He's
wow.
he's like Islamic. Not that that matters, but I think that was his like claim to fame.
Yeah.
Was that he was like, not only is he a Green Lantern, but he's also religious minority and a minority in general, which was like John Stewart beat you to the punch like 27 years ago, bub. But this show, what I think is going to happen, because we've been watching all the details, I've been trying to glean what's going to happen here, because this fucking lineup makes no sense from a logistic perspective. Like,
yeah, you were saying something about Earth 2. I know that it was supposed to be
so none of these guys exist in the same place at the same time. Maybe Guy, not that guy though. Guy old would exist because he's already been a Green Lantern for fucking 20 years when these two young bucks in the back come into the picture. Sinestro as a Green Lantern has to be pre-Infinite Crisis, and Alan Scott with his hair, look, you can see he's not old, so he's actually Golden Age Alan Scott. So this is not a green.
They did say he was going to be gay.
Yeah, and Earth 2 Alan Scott, that was a big thing when DC was just starting to like diversify.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got a Muslim dude and a black guy, obviously, but that when they were first really trying to like represent other cultures, they went for the low-hanging fruit and put a gay dude in there. And Alan Scott was their pick, which is strange because he has 2 kids. I guess, I don't know. You never meet his wife or whoever their mom is, so I guess they just picked some guy at random and they said, this guy's got a big cape. Let's give him, he's got purple. He wears purple and he's got a big cape. Let's make him gay. And so, but he's young in this. And so it chronologically doesn't make any fucking sense. And I think the picture is misleading because it implies that you're going to see a Green Lantern Corps comprised of this group.
Right.
And that's not what I think the show is going to be. I'm pretty positive. Now, this is just old Dirk spitballing here. But I'm pretty sure what you're going to see here. And I'm willing to put it down. I'm willing to mark it down as my bet. That you're going to see what we would call like I've heard tell that Tomar Ray is going to be in the show. Tomar Ray and Salak are both the scribes of the Green Lantern. They maintain the Book of Oa, which is basically like the Hall of Heroes book of all of the Green Lanterns who have come and gone prior and afterwards. It's like their Mason book, basically. Tells all the accolades of all the world, the finest Green Lanterns that have ever existed and all of the stories, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I think we're going to see is like a Tales of the Green Lantern Corps TV show where it's like episode 1, this was Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner was one of our most esteemed members of the League. He was a Justice League member. He saved the world on more than one occasion. He was best friends with Hal Jordan, whom we don't speak of anymore. He's, and then they're going to go into like some anecdote about one of his cooler stories, probably about how he opened Warrior's Tavern and also was his own standalone superhero warrior. And then they'll do that episodically. They'll tell a story because we've also heard that Kilowog is going to be in this. So it's like, I think if I were a Tibetan man, I would say what you're going to have is there's the Book of Oa right there. Yeah. What you're going to have is some sort of chronicle of the Green Lanterns so that they can weave in other characters without having to give them standalone properties. And then kind of backdoor other testing out, like seeing how invested people are in seeing stories about second string characters, because I mean really, like,
that's kind of what they're doing though. They're running out of everything, so that's like,
and don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of lore here. There's a shit ton of stuff to talk about. I mean, and when you look at the scope of the DC universe, Green Lantern has got his finger in that pie since the jump.
Yeah, and
when you go to like Crisis of Infinite Earths and Blackest Night and a lot of big DC titles. Green Lantern is a real, like, right in the fucking dead center of it.
And has a huge audience. It's ridiculous for them not to be doing something with that, you know?
Yeah, it's weird being a Green Lantern fan these days because when I was a kid, like I said, he was the nobody character. He was the one that, like, people were like, "You like Green Lantern? That's
I
your
thought
your guy?"
I thought that was Aquaman.
I feel like Aquaman got more of a pass than Green Lantern.
I always thought he was lame. I was like,
Well, I mean, he is lame, but he's definitely got more star power than Green Lantern.
like,
I felt like it was like even though like even Flash was kind of a B squad guy when I was a kid, people were like, "The Flash?" And you were like, and then you start talking about Flash villains, and they're like, Who's Captain Cold?
yeah.
Who's Pied Piper? Who's Heat Wave?" And you're like, never mind. You don't read comics. You just like Batman. Like, that's different. Those are different things.